I've mixed up some cerulean blue there. I've got some ultramarine now. I'm adding a bit of cerulean to the ultramarine. So I'm mixing up a little bit of cerulean now with some permanent rose. So I want a kind of a little soft purpley tinge in the sky. I'm just using my mop brush now to really give the paper a good soak because I'm going to be painting wet on wet. I'm using the size 14 round silver brush black velvet series. It really does carry lots of paint. You see, I'm mixing up the ultramarine washes, the cerulean. I'm really loading my brush and I'm painting this sky, and I'm leaving some little gaps for the white clouds as well. But really don't be afraid at this stage. Enjoy it. So I'm just putting a paler wash towards the horizon, and now I'm giving my painting a tilt. Now I'm going to lift off with my piece of kitchen towel, another really nice technique to create clouds. But it is so much fun to do, and whenever I've taught beginners their first ever lesson, I always get them to paint a sky and then lift out clouds with a piece of kitchen towel, and it gives everyone so much confidence and it makes it so much fun. So I'm just now sketching in my cornflowers with my HB pencil. My painting is dry. Try to draw them nice and big. I'm only going to do a few because I actually prefer just to paint them quite freely without any drawing. But do what you feel is comfortable. I'm going to use my size 4 silver brush black velvet series. It's got a lovely point and it's ideal for painting these cornflowers. I'm going to mix up some ultramarine blue with a little bit of pink for the cornflowers colour. I quite like that. They are quite bluey in the picture. I do like that sort of just a tiny bit of pink in there to create a tiny bit of violet tone to the blue. So I've loaded my brush and I'm going to paint the cornflowers wet on dry with this size 4 brush. Just sort of pressing and then flicking with my brush to get some nice petal shapes. So I'm going to continue on here now, painting each cornflower wet on dry, keep loading my brush and just sort of painting kind of each individual petal really, and just sort of giving each cornflower some personality as well. Once you've finished your first stage, your first washes on your cornflower, mix up some of the cadmium yellow with some of the ultramarine and start painting the foliage on the cornflowers. I've mixed up a delicious limey green and I'm going to paint in some of the greens. This is wet on dry with my size 4 brush. I've also painted in the stem there as well. Mixed up a darker green, just adding a little bit more blue and then painting that colour to the left side, damp into wet. So you get a bit of dark shading on the outside edge there. Just scrunching up a bit of kitchen towel and lifting off some of the paint on the right hand side so it makes it look like the light's hitting the outside edge. And I'm dropping a little bit of dark now on the stem, damp into damp. So I'm going to continue this same technique, putting on the light wash and then dropping in the darker wash. I do love the point on this size 4 brush. It carries loads of paint and yet you get this real fine detail. So I'm just creating these lovely thin stems, putting on the light colour and then gradually just dropping in some darker colour as well, damp into damp. So now my cornflowers have dried, I'm mixing up a slightly thicker wash with the ultramarine with a touch of pink, and I'm going to put on a slightly darker shade. It's like the mid-tones. Now the light is coming from the right and above, so I want to make sure that I put these mid-tones on the left-hand side and below. Also added a bit of cerulean with some pink as well, because I thought it would be quite nice to create some different colour shades. So I'm painting this now wet on dry with the size 4 brush. I've just popped a little bit of ultramarine in there because I felt it wasn't quite strong enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue putting this slightly darker shade on each of the cornflowers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build up a darker shade on these cornflowers. This is the very sort of last shade. So I've done a light shade, a medium shade. Now this is my darker shade. I'm painting this wet on dry. I've just given the painting a quick blow dry and I'm painting wet on dry, just concentrating on the bottom half of the petals and, you know, on the left-hand side. Using the size 4 round brush still, and I've used ultramarine and a touch of permanent rose. Consistency of the paint is milky. I'm going to mix up a darker green using the ultramarine with some of the yellow just to make a really lovely dark green, and I'm just painting it on the left hand side here, as you can see, and just below the petals, and you can see it really pops those flowers out, and even when I put the dark on the petals as well, it really starts to make them look 3D. I'm painting this wet on dry and I'm using my size 4 round brush still. As you can see, I've been building up the darks on the left-hand side, painting them wet on dry, and then just softening them every now and again if it looks a bit harsh, just with a damp brush. This is a really good way of softening hard edges if you're not comfortable with them, and it just pushes it back and it just sort of blends it in nicely. As you can see there now, I'm painting the leaves. They're very thin, these leaves, and I'm just putting a very delicate sort of brush stroke with a limey sort of light green, that's the ultramarine with the yellow, and just painting those leaves. I just thought I'd put a little bit of yellow on its own, just on the right-hand side of some of the flowers, just to bring out, because it looked a little bit washed out, so I'm warming it up a little bit. It just gives them that little bit of a pop. I've decided not to put any foreground in. I thought it would be too busy, but if you want to, you can just put that in with the greens that are there in your palette. Mixing up some of the cerulean now with a touch of pink, and I'm going to finish off this painting by giving it a little spatter so it creates a little bit more detail and interest. If you don't like spattering, you don't have to do this. I just quite like doing this to finish off my painting. It's just part of my process. I did forget to actually mask out the background, so put a piece of kitchen towel on so you don't get it in your lovely sky. If you'd like to get access to exclusive tutorials and to support my YouTube channel, why not think about joining my Patreon membership? You will get access to downloadable outline sketches and the tutorials are ad-free. Thank you so much for watching. Happy painting. Bye for now.